everybody, and welcome to the House of Mario, the South Australian Nintendo podcast that is backed by a 120 Power Star rating. I'm your host, Drew Agnew, and the doors episode 366 are open. It's been a big week here in the world of video games. I'm very excited to talk all about it, and been playing some. Really been enjoying Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on Switch 2, and so I'm looking forward to talking about that as well. But of course, just to get the obvious off the bat straight away, Josh isn't here tonight. We thought we would utilise our time a bit better during the week together when that Nintendo Direct happens. Is it official yet? No. Will it happen? We hope so. Fingers crossed. Otherwise, we won't hear from JT. But regardless, fingers crossed for that Nintendo Direct. I'm looking forward to some Nintendo news. We've had a lot of other games being announced lately, so I'm hoping for that Nintendo goodness, because my goodness, we've had a fair bit of announcements for Switch 2 relatively, so it's been pretty good. So yes, fingers crossed for that. We'll be hearing from Josh later in the week, and hopefully with that excited direct post show we're all hoping for. But it's been an interesting sort of week. Seen a lot of videos and people talking about the first year of Switch 2, and I was like, when did the Switch 2 come again? Was it June 3rd or June 5th? I sort of forgot. Obviously, March 3rd was the release of the original Nintendo Switch back in 2017. So that's the date that's just engraved in my mind. The 5th wasn't quite there apparently. But man, already a year of Nintendo Switch 2, and in some ways it feels like the Switch 2 has been with me for 2 or 3 years, but in other ways, when I really sit back and think about it, obviously, yes, it has only been a year, hasn't it? I think that's largely because of just the cadence of games that have come out since the system has launched. And third parties help that a lot, but of course, Nintendo's output has been pretty good as well. Just off the bat straight away with Mario Kart World into Donkey Kong, into Dragon Drive, everybody's favorite, and Kirby, Forgotten Worlds, Nintendo Switch 2 edition, and it sort of just kept on rolling from there. And man, I got to say, like, I'm really happy with the system, but I think there was a little bit of a period for me last year when, like, obviously June 5th, so exciting, getting the chance to, finally really sit down with Mario Kart World and just test out the hardware and everything. It was a lot of fun. I really like Mario Kart World, but there was a couple of months after that where I felt like, oh man, like Mario Kart lost its luster pretty quickly, relatively, considering like how much I played Mario Kart's, not 7, well, sort of 7, not a big fan of 7, but Mario Kart 8 on Wii U, and then replay it again, obviously with the Deluxe on Switch, and how many years that lasted. And even without the DLC, that game lasted a long time. Whereas like Mario Kart World, I had my expectations sky high for that game. So I was, I think ultimately I'm disappointed. As much fun as it is, as great as the new mechanics are and all that, I really did hope that open world would elevate Mario Kart to the next level. And it was kind of just the same old with some cool new physics systems, some pretty 4K graphics, and a kind of a, not really an empty world, but just sort of nothing to do in it that's really interesting, apart from maybe just like a podcast game. Put something on your headphones and go for a drive and unlock some checkpoints and stuff like that. But even around launch, there wasn't really the option of having like a map to check those checkpoints off. Like, I'm a massive fan of the Forza Horizon series, as anybody that's listened to me in the last month would know. And a big part of that game is just driving around, seeing things, collecting things, ticking off certain races off your checklist. And it's just a really easily digestible game. And the idea of having that in the Mario Kart universe was very exciting to me. But it turned out that wasn't quite the case. So after sort of doing the cups and getting into time trials quite heavily for a couple of weeks, I was kind of done with it. And after that point, I was kind of like, it is kind of the Switch, but phase 2. And I was feeling a little bit bummed about it for a little bit, to be honest with you, a couple of months after that. Donkey Kong Bonanza didn't capture me as much as a lot of other people. I still haven't finished it. It's it's at the top of my backlog. Shame, don't worry, but it didn't really like completely capture me. I acknowledge how clever a lot of the levels are, and as you're going through the different layers, like all the different mechanics and stuff that's happening, I was very impressed by it. But at the same time, maybe it wasn't exactly what I was looking for at the time. So yeah, there wasn't that particular one game that really captured me, and the Nintendo games kind of just felt like continuation of what we were doing on Switch, just running at 60 FPS instead of, you know, in the case of something like Echoes of Wisdom on Switch One, where we needed that hardware boost. But that's really changed for me this year, and it's not even due to Nintendo, because honestly, I feel kind of similar this year with like Pokopia, for example. That's a game I've been wanting for a long time, just the idea of a cozy game mixed with Pokemon. I've been asking for that for a long time, but whether that's something I'm not interested in anymore or it just didn't hit me at that particular time, it didn't really capture me. I got up to the point where I needed to build a path for Slowpoke to walk back up to a Tangrowth, and I was like, the idea of doing that, I was like, I don't want to build a path, put down a path for him just to waddle up. Like, I was like, all right, I've had enough. I kind of like the interactions between the Pokemon and all of that, and all the Easter eggs, discovering like a post-apocalyptic Kanto. Like, that's kind of a cool concept. I like reading all this. But yeah, all these little challenges and that, I'm like, it wasn't really what I was looking for at the time. But earlier this year with Final Fantasy VII Remake, that was the time for Switch 2, where it truly felt to me like a next generation device. And while I knew it was a big step up from Switch, obviously, with all the games that have been on the system throughout the course of 2025, I really do feel like Final Fantasy VII Remake was something where I was like, wow, like I'm looking at it. And then also the magic of the Switch, which is a console, as opposed to other PC handhelds that I also use, where you just dock it in and it pops up and it just works. And it looks good on the TV as well in the case of Final Fantasy VII. It was a really nice experience, whereas like, my Legion Go Steam Deck, there's no way you just plug it in and it just automatically goes to the TV nice and quick. No setting changes, any of that. It just pops up. And ever since then, like with the Capcom games, with Resident Evil and Progmata as well, similar experience as that, where it runs great on Switch 2. And it seems like we're going to be getting more and more of those as we go. And hopefully more developers they can utilize the dev kits a lot easier, and we can more reliably get great ports on Switch 2. Because that was the main thing I was personally looking for on Switch 2, was like, all right, Nintendo's doing a great job. We're getting a game a month. We're getting a game at least every 2 months, whether it's a heavy hitter or maybe just a stocking filler game for the hardcore fans out there. It is something that I was really hoping for. And that's seemingly what we're getting. There's some instances, like with Borderlands 4, where that port just seemed to disappear, seems to have got cancelled, but Borderlands 4 had memory leak problems on PlayStation and optimization problems on PC. So the idea of them just like shrinking that game onto a handheld, yeah, you can see why. I don't know. I don't think that's a Nintendo problem necessarily. And in the case of 007 First Light as well, where that Switch 2 version got delayed. And hopefully we're getting it in the next couple of months. So hopefully it's not too far after launch, but just looking at that game in particular as well, how that game runs on low-powered PC handhelds, it also sort of struggles on them as well. So it's not a game that's really built for low-powered machines. It is built for the more high-spec PCs, PlayStations, etc. So hopefully that dev team's able to shrink that down. So that's personally what's really exciting me, the idea of having a really easy, convenient handheld that I take around everywhere with me. I've got this Skull & Co. Grip that I put on, and then I just like put this cover on top of it, and I just chuck it in the passenger seat of the car, and it just comes along with me, and it's just super convenient. And as I'll talk about a little bit later with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth that I've been playing, having those experiences just able to be unlocked and played for a couple of minutes here and there, taken with me, just real long sessions at night time as well when the kids are in bed. It's just it's a great device, and I've really enjoyed the first year of it, and I hope that it continues on a good trajectory. My main worry for the Switch 2 is just what happened with Switch, because I felt very similar with Switch for the first few years as well, but it shows its age eventually. And then, well, all right, we're 4 years in, we've got another 4 years of this this hardware. And it's one of those things where I don't want to have to go and buy a new console after 3 or 4 years. I don't think that's really the step I want to take. I kind of like PlayStation's idea of like the Pro console, where it's like, look, if you want a few more frames, you don't want to be playing at 25 frames, you would like a locked 30 or something like that. I like the option of a Pro model and all that, but it also complicates the message. The whole thing of Switch and Switch 2 is just, look, this is the one thing. It goes on the TV, and that's it. I know we had the Switch Lite and that as well with the previous generation, but it's still pretty simple. Switch Lite is just handheld. People got the idea relatively quick, so I feel like that's why we probably didn't get a Pro model. And also seeing how a lot of people are viewing Switch 2, it's like, it's just a Switch Pro, or I don't really need the more power. Even this significant jump still got that reaction from a lot of the casual players, or the players that might not play their Switch all that much. They might just be there for the odd Nintendo exclusive or something like that. So they probably made the right decision. I don't know how many hardcore Switch players who want a few more frames out of their system there are, apart from me and maybe some of you that listen to a show like this. But yeah, it's been great so far. I will also say, I just want to point out maybe the Switch 2 Experience event that happened in, I think it was April or May, before the Switch 2 launched last year. And that was a really special experience for me too. I was invited by Nintendo Australia with like a whole heap of other content creators and media people to go and check out the Switch 2 in Melbourne, and went there, and that's where I first went hands-on with the hardware and a lot of the games, everything from Mario Kart World to Metroid Prime 4, and testing out the mouse controls and getting the hands on the Pro controller and all of that. Very different experience to I guess other console launches that I've ever had. Obviously, Wii U, never got hands-on with the Wii U beforehand. First time ever playing it was when I got it in my house. And I remember that day very well, having to do that massive update at Bryce's house. I had to go to use his internet because I didn't have enough bandwidth on my my home internet to be able to download that thing. So, there's stuff like that. And obviously Switch, playing Breath of the Wild all day. Without, obviously, but was it 9 years doing this podcast? And, it was cool to have that opportunity for sure. So that was really cool. And getting to do that with Josh was absolutely awesome. We really enjoyed that day. So that was really, really good. But I'd love to hear what you guys think of the Switch 2 after a whole year of using the system. A lot of great games, and I dare say a lot of money spent on the eShop and physical games. So I'd love to hear what you guys think. But one of the big reasons why I'm really happy with it, especially right now, maybe you're catching me at a good time. I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So this came out a couple of days ago. I've been playing, I guess, 4 days. I booted up Thursday because it is quite the hefty download, much like Remake. It is like a 91 gig download, which is hilarious. Just the jump from Switch 1 games, the size of their files compared to what we're dealing with on a Switch 2. I mean, it's obvious, just the type of games that are able to run on it. But yeah, it is hilarious, especially for you folk out there that just play physical media, and now with the key cards, you're like, all right, I've got to download it. It must be frustrating. But I was provided this game from the publisher, talk about it here on the podcast. So thank you very much for the access to the game. And I've got to be honest, I haven't been this excited to start a game in a long time. And for me, like, it was just coming off of Final Fantasy VII Remake, talked about it last week. And it's a game that had been on my backlog since 2019. Last week I was struggling to remember when it came out. But over the last week, I was looking at past trailers from PlayStation, State of Plays, and stuff like that. And, the game came out 2019. Okay, so I remember it coming out with like Persona 5 Royale or something. So that must have came out that year too. I couldn't put my finger on it, but it's one of those games that's been in my backlog for a very, very long time. And I don't know why I never played through it or finished it. I played like a very little amount on PlayStation 4, and I don't know why I stopped playing it. Because I knew I would love it. I did like the battle up to Roach, which is like the guy on the motorbike in Final Fantasy VII Remake. And then I just kind of stopped. And I do that with a lot of games, and I dare say you guys out there can relate as well. I don't feel like I'm alone on this, but I just stopped. I never got back to it. And maybe that's well, it's definitely a me problem, but man, it frustrates me nevertheless, because playing through it, I'm like, I absolutely love this game. Absolutely love it. And I knew that I would, because in the past I listened through the soundtrack on trips and all of that, and I absolutely love the music and the characters. I fell in love with them along the way. The story captivated me the whole time. The battle system was a lot of fun. Even the features that they added around the launch of the Switch 1 version, with like the accessibility features where you can really break the game. You can put on like max damage and make sure like you never lose health and stuff like that. And they are features that I utilize sometimes. Like if I'm going from one area to another, for example, I'll put on, so I just do maximum damage, just one hit. Like I'm just trying to get somewhere. But it was cool because I finished Final Fantasy VII Remake because I looked at the date. I saw that I had a week to go until Rebirth comes out on Switch 2. I gotta hurry up. And I also don't want this to be another year, another 8 years before I finally beat the game. So yeah, like I said last week, sat down, finished it, beat it, ready for Rebirth. And it's kind of cool that I had like that 2-day gap. And during those 2 days, I was kind of just sat there being like, I don't know what to play. I don't really feel like playing anything else. I don't feel like doing a quick little indie game in between. Obviously, starting another long game, not too interested in doing that. So I was kind of just twiddling my thumbs, just maybe picking up the Switch, having a bit of fiddle with it, playing some other sort of arcadey stuff, bit of Smash Brothers here and there, bit of Nidhogg. Some friends came over and played Nidhogg 2, which is one of my favorite party games. I was kind of just scratching my head. What do I play? But yeah, the day finally come around. Got the code for Rebirth, and I've been playing it for about 10 hours, and it's a continuation. I am loving it. Just absolutely fascinated where this story is going to go. And to some people out there, they're much to their chagrin, I am playing it without having played through the original Final Fantasy VII, and I will play through it. It might even be my next game. I don't know how I'm going to tackle it, whether I'm just going to play it in like a little bit at a time as I'm playing through Rebirth, or whether I just finish Rebirth and jump into the original and then I can go into Crisis Core and, do some of those other supplemental games throughout as well. I don't know. I know like a lot of people say like you have to play that to understand what's going on in this, but I kind of like something happens. I'm thinking, I wonder what that's going to be like that in the original. And I can sort of have that reverse feeling. So I don't know. That's my thoughts anyway, but I've tried so many times to play through the original Final Fantasy VII, whereas I'm like, look, if it's not what I'm feeling, it's not what I'm feeling. I'm feeling the brand new pretty looking one with the really fun active battle system and like the voice acting and just, everything that comes around in like the 2020s, which is, is quite nice. But as far as the actual Switch 2 port goes, it's not as crisp and nice. Not that it was that crisp on Switch 2 for Remake, but it certainly doesn't look as good because this is a much bigger game that's being compressed down onto a handheld. And just comparing it to like the other consoles that it runs on, like the PS5, for example, when it's plugged into the wall, it's running at like 200 and something watts, just off of the top of my head. The Switch 2 that I've been playing basically 95% in handheld mode for Rebirth. It runs at about 10 watts. So just like a fraction of what these consoles are running. So just the fact that this little thing does anything near like what the PS5 or Series X do is a really just a triumph in itself. Just when you think about the size and the battery and everything that's going on. So yeah, but you can definitely tell this is a PS5 game as opposed to a more linear sort of upgraded to a PS5 game that what Remake is. You can tell that it is squished down a lot more. And before the game came out, I was really sort of tossing and turning because I'm like, what system do I play Rebirth on? Do I do Switch 2? Because I love the portability and the convenience. But also, I've got a PS5 Pro, and one of the big factors I bought that system for, I upgraded from a PS5 to a Pro, was because the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I guess, version on the Pro was so good. But it cleared up the smear, ran at 60 FPS, looked beautiful. I'm like, that game looks amazing. And this is a game where I care about graphics because it looks awesome. I love the art style and the way the game looks. So yeah, I sort of, I thought about it. What should I do? And obviously I did get a review code, so it's not like I had to put my money down necessarily for it because I have bought the game already on PS5. I got it for sale last year. I don't know, it doesn't matter. But it was like $60. I'm like, oh, $60, that's a nice deal. And you know what? I'm happy I got the physical copy anyway. If I like the game this much, I'm quite happy to own the physical copy, and maybe for a second run or something, I can go and look at the graphics. But no, I wanted to check the game out on Switch 2, mainly because that portability factor and this game being so big, I needed that convenience, that extra time just to jump into it, especially this time of year when, it's getting quite busy on the farm. This is our time of year when we're lambing and doing a lot of that type of stuff on the farm. So I do have the ability just to take the Switch with me, and at lunchtime, just, play a little bit here and there, and that'll add up over time for sure. So opted in for that. And so there are some, I'm trying to think about what to tackle first. I think just like areas in towns and that, they look fun, they look good. There are some times when they drop below 30 and you can tell. And when that happens, you can sort of, you notice it, but it's not too big a deal. But I got to an area where it's consistently not running at 30 FPS, and you can tell for sure. It's about 27. Anybody who has like a FPS trained eye, I have over the last couple of years when I'm sort of like testing things on PC handhelds and even doing stuff on Android handhelds where I'm trying to get some more, I guess, intensive games running. That's when I'm really sort of trained to do it. And of course, Welcome Tour on Switch 2 when you're doing the mini game where like the balls are going by. So guess the FPS. It's like, well, I've been training for this all my life. So yes, maybe that game didn't hold up so well when it comes to playing some of these more extreme games on Switch 2. You're like, I can spot it now. That's not 120. That's only 20. But yeah, I got to an area where it was about 27 FPS or 26 FPS. Definitely wasn't 30. It was choppy. And it did sort of make me not really want to explore because it was just looking around and deciding to go over there because I saw something was a chore. Because I'm like, I don't really want to put up with this that much. And there was also some areas as well where the resolution is obviously being upscaled from an extremely low resolution where it looks like I'm squinting at the screen. It's just like, it looks pretty bad. Like, I got to be honest. Those certain segments, I didn't put them in docked. I was just playing on handheld, so that could be improved with, the docked mode on Switch 2. I'm not quite sure for those particular areas. But yes, we are taking a really big graphical and frame rate concession on Switch 2. No doubt about it. The only thing you got to ask yourself, if you have the option to play on PlayStation, Xbox, PC, or Switch 2, the thing you've just got to ask is how much do you appreciate that handheld factor? And even for me, if I'm deciding to play something handheld, I've got a Legion Go 2 and a Switch 2. The Switch 2 is still a lot easier to take along with me. For the most part, it's software designed for the system, so it's more reliable. And that lock and sleep feature, whilst I do have Steam OS on the Legion Go 2, still works a lot easier and more reliably on Switch. So I'm always gravitating towards that if it's got a good version. But apart from, those particular areas and even like the opening area where it's the grasslands, you can see like a lot of the shadows and textures loading in not very far in front of you. So, yeah, it's noticeable for sure. Like if you're somebody who's maybe doing a second playthrough from like a PlayStation version, you're probably going to really notice it. But if you're like me or a lot of people that are picking this up for the first time on Switch 2, you're probably going to enjoy it. So I'll say it's a good port. No crashes, some noticeable frame rate and resolution drops, but that I knew I was taking those concessions when I wanted that portability on a very small, thin device, which is the Switch 2. So I'm happy to do that. But I will say there are moments in cutscenes and things like that where the game looks great. And I feel like that is probably, I was going to say most important, but it's probably not most important. But it is good that there are like points in the game where you can see the detail in cloud and the facial expressions and all of that. The only thing that maybe that brings that might be a negative, but maybe not negative, but something you might want to keep in mind is just the consistency between how things look, between cutscenes, between the open world, between battles. Like the character models might look really strange 1 minute, and then you go to a cutscene where it's absolutely gorgeous. Like it fluctuates a lot. Like the game's just always picking its battles and whether to like put them into graphics or put them into something else. But yeah, so it's definitely worth picking up. You want to play it portably. Switch 2 is a good option to do it on. But if you don't mind sitting in front of your TV every night, you don't have to take it with you. This is a game you probably do want on your console just to get the max amount of the graphics. And I dare say 60 frames for the battles would be kind of a game changer as well. Like just how fluid and fast like a lot of these battles are with the summons and just everything that's going on, just how flashy this game is. Yeah, I'm sure it's absolutely stunning, and I'm a little bit jealous. If I could transfer my save between PS5 and Switch, much like you can with like Ubisoft games and Project CD Red games, where like they got their own account system, you can move your saves. I would 100% be swapping between them. And I might only do like a few hours all up, maybe 10 hours out of my 60-hour playthrough on PlayStation, but it would be nice just to have that option. And I definitely feel like developers should really do that because, they could get like an extra copy sold for sure. Like these big games, like for example, for example, The Witcher 3 does it. I would quite happily play through, like have the handheld Switch version, which doesn't look very good. But once again, we're taking those concessions with a small, thin, quiet handheld. And Van's like, all right, I'm home. I'm not on the bus. The bus. I don't ride the bus. But, you're back at home. The kids are in bed. No responsibilities, not lights off. And then you can boot up like, a console that has the power and you can go at it like that. But yeah, not the case on this one. And it seems like, don't know, we'll see if Revelations has it as well, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, I mean, the story is fascinating so far as well. Just like the opening prologue, just sort of like I had no idea why Sephiroth, what he did. Like, oh, he's a bad guy. What did he do? And playing the prologues, like, he's a bad man. A bit random, a bit sporadic, a bit strange, a little bit out of nowhere. But yeah, he's a bad man. We better track him down. And all the other characters and everything. I'm currently at the Queen's Blood tournament for anybody who has played the game. So I'm up to that at the moment. And I've currently got 3 wins out of the 5 in the Queen's Blood tournament. And I had to look up how to actually play Queen's Blood because the tutorial in the actual game I'm like, I got no idea. I did the tutorial, lost the tutorial. I'm like, I got no idea how to play this random card game. So I looked up a couple of YouTube tutorials. The first one, still had no idea afterwards. I'm like, I don't know. The second one I looked up, I'm like, they explained it beautifully, just like what all the elements on the cards mean, how to actually play it, what the aim of the game is. Because the actual game itself gave me no clue. It gives you like a bit to read. Okay, I'm trying to work it out. I'm not really in the mood for a card game right now. I'm just kind of in the mood for like leveling up my characters and doing the RPG element of it. So maybe I wasn't paying the most attention either. Playing it just this afternoon, the actual card game part of it, that was pretty cool too. So I can see myself just picking up the Switch 2 and going around the open world looking for more Queen's Blood battles and stuff like that. That's kind of the cool thing about having it on Switch 2. You can play it a lot like we play Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, where you might pick it up and have a session where you're just looking for towers and unlocking towers and doing battles and looking for intel for Chadley and just doing these little tasks. And then when you get home, you can dock it and do some more of the story, have those cutscenes blown up on the TV, have it nice and all of that. But yeah, absolutely wonderful game. I cannot wait to play more. It's all I want to play right now. I'm kind of just thinking about that. So I'm looking at the rest of June. I can't remember anything off the top of my head that's coming out. It is my birthday, and I think I'm getting a couple of games on my wish list, or like physical PlayStation 5 games. So I'm like, I might play a little bit of that, but the main thing I want to play is just Rebirth. So much fun, and the story is captivating. I just want to keep on playing, and all of the Final Fantasy VII remake series hype over the last couple of days as well certainly heightens that as well. But yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, all right. So the last few days we've had Summer's Game Fest, and for those that don't know, this is basically the replacement for E3, and even the words E3, the word E3, it's kind of for old heads at this point. All the people that stayed up for all of the conferences, whether it was PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, obviously, EA, Ubisoft, the good old days where we used to stay up to 2 o'clock to watch these marketing materials. And in the modern era, thanks to COVID, these things are gone. It was dying anyway, but COVID put a nail in that coffin. We no longer get E3 where the whole industry gets together at the same time. But Summer Game Fest has been that replacement over the last few years. And I've got to be honest, the last couple of years, I couldn't have cared less about Summer Game Fest, honestly. Of course, I catch the announcements that I care about. Like, if there's a game in a series I care about, I'm going to learn about it because I'm checking out the news, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm doing all this stuff in the gaming hobby. So I'm going to find out about it. But as far as watching it all and all that, I'm never been that interested. But this year, I don't know. There's been something that's changed in me, and for the better, because I want the spirit of E3 to live on in my own mind. And of course, just the gaming community as a whole. So I actually have watched a lot of, the major 3 conferences. And last year, I didn't even watch Xboxes, which I usually watch theirs because they usually do a pretty good job. But yes, I've watched the PlayStation State of Play. I've watched Summer Games Fest with Jeff Keighley. And I just this morning just watched the Xbox Game Showcase. And it's been good. I've really enjoyed it over the last couple of days. And there's plenty of games from every conference that I'm either interested in or really looking forward to. So I've got, how many games did I have? I think it was like 23 games. I just want to have a quick conversation with you guys about. These are just the highlights personally for me. Games like I said, I'll either definitely be checking out or I'm just interested. Depends on maybe when the release is, and depends on, obviously other commitments that I have with work and family and whatever I'm up to when the game comes out. And of course, Nintendo haven't revealed what they're really doing after Star Fox. But yes, there is like Riven Heaven, the Splatoon, Raiders. But yeah, September, we don't really know. We don't have a release date for Fire Emblem or that just Just wonderful Ocarina of Time remake. Oh, man, the more I think about that, I'm like, show me. But not today. This is everybody else. And I thought another reason why like Josh didn't join tonight is just like, I don't think he really paid all that much interest in like PlayStation, Xbox, and Summer Game Fest as far as like, watching their conferences and all of that. So he wouldn't have had too much to say, I don't think, apart from maybe the odd game he's looking forward to. But yeah, like I said, I actually watched them this year, which is nice. I quite enjoyed it. But we'll start off with some games from the PlayStation State of Play. And from this conference, I've got conference. So you can see I'm an old head. I called it a conference. From this live presentation broadcast to YouTube and Twitch and whatever service, I picked out 5 games I'm looking forward to. And these ones in particular, these ones I'm definitely going to play, at least at some point in my life. And I'll point out the ones that are coming to Switch too. But the first one is definitely not. The first one's Marvel's Wolverine, almost said Spider-Man. And I'm looking forward to this one. I'm a big Insomniac fan. Ratchet and Clank, the Spider-Man games. Really love like their games as a studio. And I'm not a big Wolverine fan. In fact, I haven't seen any of the X-Men movies. I watched Deadpool vs. Wolverine. And yeah, Hugh Jackman was pretty good in that. So that's my touchstone to Wolverine. Really don't know too much about it. But I like cinematic action games. So from PlayStation with really high budgets. And I like superheroes. I dare say I'll quite like Wolverine and the X-Men and all that when I'm exposed to it. So I'm all about it. So I'm looking forward to that. September 15th. The next one is one that I absolutely will not and cannot miss. I might buy this a couple of times on a few different platforms. Just to let them know I care. And of course, that's Rayman Legends Retold. We talked about it last week a little bit, but it's official now. It's coming out October 1st. And I was really interested in this one because a remake of Rayman Origins. It's the last goddamn Rayman game that came out, and it looks beautiful. Absolutely stunning. It's got like a wonderful animated art style. Absolutely stunning to this day. It looks amazing. So, all right, what are you going to do to it? And I will say that Rayman Legends Retold looks great. I love the look of the game. It's a 3D art style with like, depth to the backgrounds and everything. It looks whimsical, colorful, all of that. And they're adding like 3D sections with like the dragon races and a bunch of other stuff I'm looking forward to. And yes, coming to Switch too. So I'm looking forward to it. I will say that it is just strange to have a remake of a game that is like the last game in the series. A little bit strange. Like I would have been a lot more excited about this if this was just a new Rayman game, because it looks like they're putting a lot of effort into making this, which is great. Just like it doesn't look like it's just like a quick little slap together and look, we just put together Rayman Legends again. It looks like a lot of work's gone into it. So if this was just like Rayman something else, and it's a brand new game and it looked like this, I'm like, oh, fantastic. I would be through the moon. But while I'm maybe not through the moon, I'm still very excited. And I think they'll hopefully add a few things to this to really make it a different experience. And I haven't played Rayman Legends in a long time, so a lot of the levels I would have forgotten anyway. So it probably might feel like a new game apart from the more memorable sections where like the music sections, for example, like the first one, like Black Betty, where like you're running and like Black Betty's playing and everything in the level's happening to like the tune of the song. There's a bunch of music levels. So I think there's been some more added to this, which would be great to see. So yeah, I'm really excited for this. And if you get a free version of Rayman Origins Remastered as well. So I think it's just a simple 4K version of Rayman Origins, which is an amazing game as well. Just absolute phenomenal 2D platformer. Legends is better in pretty much every way, but I still remember seeing Rayman Origins for the first time at a Ubisoft E3. And I was like, that thing is beautiful. And I needed it in my veins. And, it's a game that isn't available on Switch or Switch 2 or even PS4, as far as I can recall. It's only on PC and backwards compatible on like Xbox One, Series X, and S. And I've actually got my disc still, so I've installed it on my Xbox Series S and X, or X, or whatever fucking Xbox it was. Doesn't have a disc drive, the Series S, so just my X. So yeah, 100%. I want to get this on Switch 2. And depending on how much of a resolution the Switch 2 can put out, I will get it on PS5 as well, just to have that real crisp 4K. Because yeah, the game looks amazing, and Ubisoft, they do a tremendous job at having cross saves on their games, so I can just move the save back and forward, which would be great. So absolutely, and I don't mind buying it twice because I want more Rayman games. So do it. Next up, Tomb Raider: Legacy of Atlantis, and coming next year on February 12th. And I think this was like the first confirmation it is coming to Switch 2. And I'm a big, Tomb Raider fan, but not too big. I will say I'm a big fan of Tomb Raider 2013, the sort of reboot by Crystal Dynamics. But I never finished Rise of the Tomb Raider. That sort of lost me. And I never played Shadow. And also, I'm not like an original Tomb Raider fan from PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2. So I really liked that one Tomb Raider game. But I'm open to like this new take on Tomb Raider. So I probably will play this on Switch 2. But, you know, just as long as the Digital Foundry don't come out and be like, this port sucks. I'm like, oh no, I can't play it there then if it's broken. But yeah, it's probably not. It'll be fine. The only thing is that in recent days, it's come out that like basically on Steam, it's got an AI warning on the game, basically like saying that AI has been used for the game. And while it says that it's for assets that are being replaced by actual human people, the game does have like a strange Unreal Engine 5 look to it. And it looks, with the whole idea of AI behind it, you can sort of see like, was Lara Croft like generated? It kind of looks a little bit like it. It's got that kind of weird tinge over it. I don't know. But yeah, regardless of that, I'm open for more Tomb Raider. That's just a series that I want to play more of. Even the older games I want to play more of. It's just it's hard going back to the PS1 versions and all that. And Rise of the Tomb Raider, I've gone back to it multiple times, but it's just that open-ended level structure that it had. I really enjoyed the more linear one of like the original Tomb Raider reboot. But yeah, I'm open to that one. Onimusha Way of the Sword. This is a Capcom game, and I'm honestly gonna try and keep up with Capcom games after like the last spout of games that have come out this year with Resident Evil and Pragmata. Like, they're on a roll, so I'm kind of gonna just put myself in that snowball and just go down the hill with them. I'm gonna I would like to play more. Unfortunately, this one is not confirmed for Switch 2, and it seems like it probably won't come for Switch 2 since it's got a release date and everything, and no hint of a port or anything on the way. But I honestly don't know much about it. I would like to play the other Onimusha games on the lead up to this if I got the time. If I don't, I'll get to this when I play the original PlayStation 2 versions. But yeah, I'm keen to play that. And last on the list for the state of play is just God of War La Fey. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I'm going to say that. You know what I'm on about. That God of War game that was announced at the state of play. And this is another game where I'm interested in it for sure, but I've got to catch up on the series. I haven't haven't finished the other two God of War games. So yeah, if I do that before this comes out, I'll play it when it comes out. I'm really quite far back on my PlayStation first party backlog for sure. A lot of it is just because it kind of stopped interesting me a little bit, just because a lot of it was sequels to stuff I either didn't really gel with or I haven't finished. Like God of War, for example, I quite liked what I played of God of War 2018, but I got to a section where I got stuck. I literally didn't know where to go. And it was such a linear section, but I was just blocked off. So I don't know if it's a section that a lot of people sort of look at and be like, I don't know how to get past this. Where do I go? Or I'm just dumb. And I think it's the second option. I think I'm just dumb. But maybe that's why I didn't go back to it. I didn't want to confront the truth that I'm a dum-dum. Big dum-dum. No. But the game looked great. And I really did like the way that they presented it as well, saying like, hey, look, here's 20 minutes of gameplay. And I see online a lot of people take umbrage with the way that was worded, because like a lot of it's cutscenes and cinematics and walking and stuff like that from like a cinematic action game that PlayStation produces. So they're like, this is not gameplay. So, well, it's not just, they're not just going to show off the battle system and that's it. The whole idea was of this state of play. It was being broadcast in like Animo draft houses through like a couple in the US where you could go and watch this. And if you were in that position where you're watching this on a massive screen, watching the trailers, and then you get 20 minutes of a new God of War game on that big screen, I'm sure it would have been a tremendous experience. For me, I was just watching on my phone, so it wasn't quite the cinematic experience maybe PlayStation was thinking of when they were saying 20 minutes, but I think it was quite good. It sort of just spoke for itself. Just you can see for yourself. You can see just like the production value, the graphics, the sound, the voice acting, the action, all of that just put together. The new battle system. Well, no, maybe it's not so new. You get a sword. She moves a bit different. But yeah, I'm keen for it. But yeah, I can't get too excited because I've got 2 other games that I've got to play through before this. So yeah, I would say state of play was pretty good. So yeah, we got 2 new Switch, I guess Switch 2 games out of it with Rayman Legends Retold and Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis. But yeah, I think it was pretty good. I would have given like a B grading overall. I think it was pretty good. Next up from Summer Game Fest, I got 7 games from this presentation I want to talk about. And I actually caught this one late. So I caught this one maybe the last quarter. And then I went through a list and just individual trailers of stuff I'll be interested in. So there might have been that sleeper hit that I wouldn't even thought to have clicked on. That might have caught my eye if I watched the whole thing. But this one was like a 2.5 hour presentation. I'm like, I don't feel like doing that right now. But these are the highlights that I picked up. So Resident Evil Veronica remake, of the game. It was exclusive to GameCube. It came to Dreamcast first. Was it exclusive to GameCube? Then it came to PS2? Not quite sure. I'm not a Resident Evil historian. But yeah, that's coming next year. It's confirmed for Switch 2. So fantastic. Capcom keeping on that Resident Evil, just train for Switch 2. I also put Monster Hunter Wilds Ascendance because it was confirmed that it is coming to Switch 2 next year. Hopefully very close to the actual, release date of the expansion on other platforms. That'd be great. And I got to be honest, Monster Hunter Wilds, I expected this one far earlier than now, because I guess naively, just on the lead up to Switch 2 getting announced, I was sort of hoping for a lot more of these games getting ported to Switch 2 much quicker. Like, for example, Elden Ring. I thought that was going to come to Switch 2 at launch. But like Monster Hunter Wilds and a lot of the contemporary games that came out around then, I'm like, surely just they'll be on Switch 2 within the next couple of months. And it's been so much slower than I ever could have guessed. Just the fact that they just randomly announced the Switch 2 port is in development, just not even in this presentation, but afterwards, I'm like, I would like them to be a little bit more onto it. Nintendo, that's your homework for the next month. Get on it. And another one I'm a little bit interested in. It's coming out at an extremely busy time. I haven't really lined up all the release dates and what's coming out on top of each other yet. But this is one I looked at. I'm like, that could be fun. My kids could get a kick out of it. I'll get a kick out of it. I love racing games. So yeah, Hot Wheels Infinite Rush comes out on September 24th. And a lot of games are coming out at the end of September. So just keep that in mind. But definitely a good one to add to the wish list for me anyway. It is coming to Switch 2, which is great. And it kind of looks like an open world Hot Wheels game, which we've had before. But this one looks like a lot more just like an actual toy track. And it's the same developers from the previous Hot Wheels games. Was it Hot Wheels Unleashed 1 and 2? I think it's from the same developers as that. And they were fantastic racing games on like Hot Wheels tracks. And it was all very much like miniature, like you're actually like an actual Hot Wheels car racing. It was a lot of fun. So I got my my hopes set pretty high for this one. And it should be great. So it'll be on the wish list. It's definitely not like a must play for me, but should be good. This one I'm interested in as well. I was a big Telltale fan from back in the day, and I did buy this one on PlayStation 3, but I didn't play it, as I'll explain later. But The Wolf Among Us 2 and a remaster of the original game are coming 2027 and 2026 sometime, respectively. And this is one I bought, like, basically around the time I was playing The Walking Dead. I was a massive fan of that. So I played a few Telltale games, the Batman game. There's a Borderlands game. I didn't play all of the episodes for the Borderlands game, but I bought The Wolf Among Us. And what I had to do back when I had my PS3 was I had to take it to Bryce's house and download my games because I had 5 gig bandwidth to be able to download stuff. So I never got around to downloading maybe episode 2 and onwards or something. Like, you know, since the Telltale games, if you remember, maybe a big reason why they ended up going out of business before they got like basically the name rebooted as they have now. But the episodes, they just came out when they were finished. So there was no monthly cadence. They just sort of came out when they came out. So yeah, I think I just lost track of it and didn't get the game downloaded, and I never played it. And it's kind of frustrating because like the idea of me playing it, I'm like, I just want to play the version that I bought, but I'm not booting up the PS3, man. I'm not doing it. Not happening. Especially for a digital game, I've got to download. I don't mind putting in a disc. But finding my way to my like downloads in my library, oh, how do you even do that? God, ancient technology. I'm too used to convenience now. I just pop in my virtual game key card and oopty-doopty and put it in my pocket and I walk off. But yeah. Next up, we've got Stellar Blade Blood Rain. Not coming to Switch 2, I imagine. Who knows? I don't think it is. It didn't get any platforms announced, actually, now I think of it. No release date either, but I was a massive fan of Stellar Blade a couple of years ago. My second favorite game for 2024, just under Astrobot. Love that game. But Stellar Blade, man, it was just so stylized. The combat was fantastic. A lot of complaints about the story, and I got to say the story wrapped up in a really satisfying way for me too. It ended up in like a choice you could make, and like each direction was really interesting. There was like a canon ending basically and another ending, but it was like, oh my God, what's going on here? But Stellar Blade, man, awesome game. So the fact that we got to look at this one, really cool. There's a brand new protagonist called Evie. I'm like, Evie? The protagonist in the first game was Eve. So it's very similar. But yeah, looks pretty cool. She didn't really have like a sword or weapon. She just like, it was more melee focused, which is kind of cool too. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to playing this one. Wherever it's going to release, I'm not quite sure. But the big ones at the end, this is what I call it live for sure. And I was very excited about it. The more small ones, so Street Fighter 6. So we got to look at year 4 as far as like the download content for that goes. I don't know anything apart from Tifa. Tifa from Final Fantasy VII is coming to Street Fighter 6. And I will say, what a week for this game to go on sale as well. On my wish list, I've had Street Fighter 6 years 1 plus 2. So those packs of DLC with the game on my wish list for a long time. For a year, actually, since the system came out, because I was so frustrated with the game because I wanted a digital copy, didn't have to worry about the key card. I just want it tied to my account so I can just download it and, have to worry about that bit of plastic in my Switch too. But the problem is that on the eShop, it's way more expensive to buy that, I guess, that pack with like the DLC, digitally than it is physically. The key card's like a lot cheaper. I'm like, I'm not getting the key card. So I just sort of like had it on the wish list for a long time. And Street Fighter 6, just the base game's gone on sale multiple times for like $30. It's gone down quite a lot. I'm like, oh, is the DLC on sale too? No, it's not. I'm like, I kind of want that DLC with it, especially since it's just a part of the key card. But it's finally gone on sale, $60 for years, 1 plus 2. So I think it's time. I want to play Street Fighter. I've got my arcade controllers to play fighting games. I got one with like an arcade stick. I've got other ones just with the arcade buttons, and we'll see which one I prefer. But like a lot of people recommend just like the buttons for like fighting games. So I'm really excited just to actually get a fighting game on my Switch too, because there's an Avatar game, Avatar the Fighting Game, I think it's just called. It's coming out. I got delayed to the end of July, and I'm looking at that. It looks like a really nice game. I love the Avatar universe. So I kind of had my eye on that as far as like my first game to utilize my fighting stick or my arcade controller. But it looks like Street Fighter. It's on sale for the rest of June. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on it. I'll see how the funds are going, what other games I want to play or buy. But the time is now. Tifa coming to the game. I want to play as Tifa. I'm, a new Final Fantasy VII fan. So I'm like, absolutely. She comes to the game early next year. So yeah, got plenty of time to maybe play some other characters and play the story mode and all of that type of stuff in the game, and probably end up revisiting it when year 4 comes out with Tifa. But yeah, really cool announcement. They had the director of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth out on stage. Can't remember his name just off the top of my head. But it's like, man, he come from Japan just for the Street Fighter DLC. There's not a way in hell that he came all the way from Japan just to announce T from Final Fantasy VI. Like, so, he's sort of sitting back. He walks off stage. Jeff Keighley makes a bit of a sly comment, being like, oh, how can we top that? And it's like, well, we've got to finish the final fight. And no, it's not Halo. Yes, he came back, and yeah, the third part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy got announced. Final Fantasy VII Revelation, so coming spring next year, American seasons. And yeah, how do I feel about this? So I'm very excited about it, but I'm not ready to be excited about it. I just started Rebirth, and if you ask me, like if I was in charge of, Square Enix marketing, whatever, I would have thought it would have, and I would have bet on this as well before this weekend. I thought it would have made a lot more sense to be thought it would have made way more sense. But all right, Xbox and Switch 2 players, they're getting access to this game on the 3rd. So what we're going to do, we're going to release it then, and then the next beat we're going to have for the Final Fantasy series is going to be at the Game Awards in December. Is it December? No, it's not quite that late, is it? Yeah, it is December. I can't remember. In December, then we're going to announce Part 3. And you have the benefit of having like less lead up, between the announcement and the release. But also, everybody who's like, oh, yes, I finally have access to it on your Xbox or your Switch, then you're ready to be excited about Part 3. We know what happened in Rebirth. We know, what's going to maybe happen, and be excited about all the things that are going to be in the finale of the series that we just started playing this year. So I imagine a lot of Xbox and Nintendo fans kind of looked at this being like, okay, well, that looks great. But I'm kind of getting spoiled in some aspects, because there are some things where I'm like one of the most famous spoilers in Final Fantasy VII, even I know that one. And it's like one of the most famous gaming spoilers of all time, where it's kind of like, Darth Vader, oh my God, he's Luke's dad. Spoilers, in case you didn't know that one. But yeah, I was kind of like, I wonder if that still happens in Rebirth, and in the trailer it alludes to, yes, that happened. It's like, okay. And also like, a lot of these things were happening in the game. Like I haven't played 7 yet, so I didn't know that, because I kind of, I wouldn't call it I got spoiled, but I didn't need to see that now. You just sold me this game. You just sold it to me. So yeah, I would have thought that like let the fan base catch up. Like everybody who is wanting to be excited, be ready to be excited. But it kind of just got announced for PlayStation players in some ways. It's like, all right, you're still catching up, but this is the time you've got to beat Rebirth by, which is, I guess, maybe March onwards for Revelation. But yeah, I mean, the game looks great. I'm looking at like the trailers and the gameplay that they showed for this. And like I said, playing on Switch, and I'm watching gameplay that's probably captured on a relatively nice PC. Man, the game looks great. It doesn't quite look like that on Switch too. Especially the area I'm in with a lot of water effects and stuff. It's like, nah, not quite. But like I said, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. And I guess the benefit of it is that we do know when we need to be finished by. So if you're wanting to be in on the action, you can play it before, you've got months and months to play it. So that's good. I guess obviously the biggest thing for this podcast, which I didn't touch on, is yes, it is coming to Switch 2 day and date. As it is for every platform. So across PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, Steam, Epic Games Store, Windows, it's coming to all of it. Because in the past, obviously, PlayStation is an exclusive, but even on PC for Final Fantasy VII Remake, it was an Epic Games exclusive for a long time. And it was like a big moment when it came to Steam because a lot of people were like, oh my God, I'll finally buy it now. Because not only do you have to wait for it to come to your machine, you've got to wait for it to come to your storefront as well, which is, I missed the PC gaming I wasn't gaming on PC when the Epic Game Store was doing like Borderlands 3 and Control. Was it Control? Might have been Control. Yeah, whatever. It was Alan Wake and some other Remedy games just exclusively on their store. It would have been really frustrating. I can really see why it would be because like, people sort of maybe say on PC, it's just a different app. Who cares? But no, it's the whole ecosystem of Steam. It's like your achievements, your friends, going to the forums to get help and having it in your game library that you've spent hundreds of dollars on, if not thousands. That a lot of people definitely would have. Like it's a whole thing. Like you don't really want to move it somewhere else. But anyway, that's not really too relevant here. But pretty cool. Pretty cool that it's coming everywhere. And just like the whole thing of being able to like, I forgot the name of the ship. Forgive me. Like I said, I have not played Final Fantasy VII all the way through, but it's pretty cool. You get your ship, you can sort of dive off of it and just seamlessly touch the ground and continue on that way. It looks really robust, and with like all the Titans around as well, whatever they're called, you take them down. Don't know. Looks really great. Really fantastic. So I'm glad that I've got like a date that I need to be caught up on all my Final Fantasy VII goodness, at least. That's my goal. I will have played all the Final Fantasy VII games, including that obscure one on PS2. I'll give that one a go. It's like a third-person shooter. Forgot what it's called. Doesn't matter. I'll watch the movies. I'll do the whole thing. I'm in it to win it. But yeah, looking forward to it. So yeah, that'll be like, I would say that's like probably my most hype announcement over the last couple of days, but also I'm not ready to be hyped for it yet because I just got the second game. So yeah, I'm not quite ready to be hyped, but when I finish Rebirth, I'll be there for it. All right, and now let's talk about the Xbox Game Showcase, and this will sort of touch on some other things I want to talk about with like Xbox exclusivity coming back as well and things like that. But the Xbox Showcase, pretty great. There's 11 games I'm keen for to pick up or at least try. And a lot of that comes down to maybe some availability on Game Pass. That helps as well for some of these. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't play stuff like Senua and Resonance of Plague Legacy. There's some stuff like that that's coming to Game Pass where I'm like, it looks great. I'd love to give it a go. So yeah, I'll sign up for, my $17 a month. Play it on my handheld or whatever I need to do. So the barrier is pretty low. But 7 of these are brand new games. So stuff like, Fable and Halo, we knew about that before, but 7 of them are brand new games I didn't know about before. So even some new surprises in there, which is pretty good. But the first one, which I'm like, I'll give it a go if I've got time around when it launches on October 6th, is Gears of War E-Day, the showcase game of the conference. And I've always wanted to get into Gears of War, but I've just never really made the time for it. And it's not necessarily exactly what I'm into. Like, I'm not into just heavy third-person shooters, especially around the culture of just like bros shooting aliens. It was never my type of thing, but it's always something I wanted to give a better try than just an hour or so of the original. But yeah, I'll be keen to give this a go. It's a prequel to the original Gears game, so you're actually experiencing E-Day, which is like Invasion Day basically, when the Locusts invaded whatever the planet is. So yeah, I'll give this a go. Game Pass, like I said, if it wasn't Game Pass, I'd probably be I wouldn't be that excited to spend $110 on it. especially because it's an Xbox exclusive. We'll talk about that later. Fable. This is one I'm very excited about. It got delayed recently. We got a release date now. So February 23rd. So I'm very much looking forward to this one. Fable's a game that I really enjoyed back when I got my first laptop. Bryce. I brought Bryce up a few times this episode, but he gave me like a cracked version of the original Fable game, and I played that on my laptop, and I enjoyed it. I never played it all the way through. I played it just with the keyboard and mouse pad on the laptop. But yeah, it's got a nice little spot in my heart, and just the way Playground Games are playing off of the original series, but also reimagining it into the modern day. And I really love like the UK humor behind it, just that mockumentary sort of style. A lot of the trailers, including the more recent one, was in. Really looking forward to it. This will probably be a game I actually buy on PlayStation or PC on Steam, depending on if it runs okay on my Legion Go 2. But yeah, I can't wait for it. And actually, Luke on Discord asked, what are your thoughts on Fable? I thought the new trailer was very impressive. With GTA and a ton of games coming in September, the delay makes sense. And yeah, I feel like just selfishly for me, if this game fell, say, October onwards, especially November, that's the time of year where I'm doing a lot more physical work. It's shearing season, and like when I get home, I'm probably not going to be really in the mood for a massive game that's like a big hour sink. So the idea of it being like, usually shearing season for me, it finishes about Christmas time, and it lightens off. Work lightens off a bit. So the idea of like the new year, February, usually, pretty quiet on just like physical work front for me. So I'm like, perfect, man. I can't wait for it. I really can't wait for it. And the new trailer, Luke, I didn't need to see anymore. We had a great sort of showcase of it at the start of this year, but I love seeing the villain who's sort of like, yeah, sort of explain like, no, I'm a hero. Like, she thinks she's doing the right thing. And yeah, I think it looks absolutely fantastic. So I can't wait to dive into it. And Playground Games, I would say, is easily my favorite Xbox studio. And they have been for a long time. Like Forza Horizon 2, my first Forza Horizon game that I played. Ever since then, like, I'm like, these guys are cooking. Absolutely cooking. And when Xbox purchased them in 2018, I'm like, absolutely. That one makes too much sense. So I am fascinated to see what they do with Fable. Let alone it's a series that's very important to Xbox, but also just, yeah, I want to see what they're doing. Looks absolutely fantastic. So I can't wait. Halo Campaign Evolved. It's coming out next month on July 28th. And this is probably another one where I'm like, I'll play it because of Game Pass. I'm a big Halo fan. Big casual Halo fan. Let's put it that way. Yeah, big's probably the wrong word to use, but I certainly have enjoyed Halo over the last many years, especially multiplayer. Halo 1, Blood Gulch. I really loved the simplicity of that map, just how it just like the symmetry of it, and how you can have like sniper points on the sides, up the cliff, and yeah, I really have a lot of great memories with Halo 1. Multiplayer in particular, and whenever I played Halo 1, yeah, it was just multiplayer, so I never really decided to sit down with the campaign and play through the campaign. So this is a good opportunity to actually play the campaign and experience that story. And in this showcase, they showed off like 3 brand new missions before the events of Halo 1, and showed off some like combat in space and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to playing this. I'll play it on Xbox. I'm a little bit tempted to buy it on PlayStation 5, get that physical copy, because it looks ridiculous. I got to be honest. Just like the PlayStation 5 banner across Master Chief. Make it make sense. What is this world coming to? My goodness gracious. Next one, Resonance, A Plague Legacy. So this is like another Plague Tale game, which I never played the Plague Tale games. They're a lot more sort of stealth orientated. These games are on Game Pass as well, but I never got to them. And like, I've never been a massive stealth fan, so that's probably largely the reason. But I've loved like sort of the cinematic and I guess production value put into these. They always appealed to me in that way. So the idea of this game, it looks like it's a lot more action focused, which I'm like, okay, absolutely. So that grabbed my attention, and seeing the Game Pass logo at the end, I'm like, cool, yeah, I'll give it a go. It probably lines up with a few other games on Game Pass at the same time. I think what's the Game Freak game called? Game Freak. What was it called? Forgot. It's annoying me. But yeah, that comes out at the start of August, and that's also on Game Pass. So I was also thinking about buying that game, but who knows? I might decide to cheap out and just get on Game Pass. Who knows? The reviews might not be that good either. So yeah, we'll see what we do there. But yeah, I'm interested in that whenever I get Game Pass around that time for sure. Persona 4 Revival, that comes out February 27th next year. I've always wanted to play Personas. It's a little bit like Final Fantasy VII Remake. They've been in the backlog forever. And it's largely like me being paralyzed of where to play it, because I love the look of the game, but I've just got to pick a lane pretty much. Because like they look great on PlayStation, but I don't have the portability. And on Switch, they're a little bit soft. But look, it's just a Drew problem. I don't have to voice it here. But yes, I haven't finished any of the Personas, but yeah, maybe I would like to do 3, then play 4, then maybe 5, because Persona 6 got announced at this conference as well. I didn't put it down here because there's literally nothing about it apart from like a very, vague teaser trailer, but that's exciting as well. That's massive. Like just the fact that Xbox and like Microsoft has gone into basically Sega and gotten a lot of these awesome announcements. Like they've had Persona announcements and the games on Game Pass for many years at this point. So that relationship's very strong. So it's good to see them care and actually make an effort in the Japanese, like the gaming community, to actually get some of that stuff, which has been good to see. But yeah, Persona 4, very excited for that. At the end, there was no Switch 2 logo. So my only assumption is that it's also going to be showcased in a Nintendo Direct. Because if it doesn't come to Switch 2, that's crazy, dude. What are you doing, Atlas? What are you doing? Surely it's going to sell pretty well on Switch 2. Surely, you'd think so. A lot of people want these RPGs on a portable. So I'll be pretty surprised if it's not on Switch 2. And a similar thing happened with Persona 5 when that game was coming off of PlayStation, and it was at a Xbox showcase. They showed it off and it didn't have a Switch logo. Like, okay. And then later on in the week, there was a Nintendo Direct. I think it was a partner showcase at the time. And yeah, there it was on Switch. So I assume it's going to be a similar thing for this. But yeah, pretty exciting. Another game, which is a brand new game that I had not seen before, a game called Bad Magpie. And it looks like it's got an absolutely beautiful art style, really nice, bright, cartoony. Just looking at the gameplay, it's like, it's definitely inspired by, but is it made by the Untitled Goose team? Like it's just like a similar kind of vibe. You can see yourself doing puzzles, but it just starts off like the magpie holding a stick on fire and like these flowers with faces looking terrified as like this magpie is just like hopping through the grass, just lighting everything on fire, just completely oblivious to everything that's going on. This is 100% a game I'm going to play. Wishlisted it on Steam. Didn't see that it's coming to Game Pass, but for sure. This is the type of stuff that I want to play, and it looks absolutely fantastic. So awesome. Game called Senua. So this is by Ninja Theory, and a couple of years ago I played through Hellblade 1 and Hellblade 2. And just for those that don't know, the protagonist of those games her name is Senua. So it seems like they're doing a bit of a different direction for the Hellblade series, where it kind of looks like they're going a little bit more gameplay orientated, where, it had a combat system in Hellblade, but it was very basic. It's kind of just like weave, duck, hit. And it was more about the cinematics and the way the game looked rather than like the actual gameplay. And we know Ninja Theory can do a great battle system because they did Heavenly Sword on PlayStation 3. They did DMC, which is my first Devil May Cry game. The one everybody hated. And I love that game. I think that game was so fun and good. So it was a complete different turn when they went to Hellblade 1 and 2. And it's like maybe they're trying to get a little bit more just come to a bit more of a commercial reality when it comes to actually selling games. Maybe they actually want to sell something. So don't know. It seems like it's a little bit more gameplay orientated. Still looks beautiful, gorgeous. I'm sure there's a really crazy psychotic story in there as well. But yeah, this is one that's coming out next year. No release date. Not coming to Switch 2. It is coming to PS5 as well as the PC and Xbox platforms. But yeah, this is another Game Pass one where I'm like, look, I liked Hellblade 1 and 2, but I probably wouldn't buy another one. I'll definitely just play this on a subscription. And this is probably a theme of a lot of these games. But yeah, a big one. We got Crazy Taxi World Tour. Sega, we knew they were going to be redoing a lot of their older franchises. And Crazy Taxi is something I like to boot up on my Dreamcast or like one of my retro emulation handhelds. I mean, in the 2000s, Crazy Taxi, it was so big, and just like the PSP one is actually fantastic. I couldn't believe how feature rich and just like how good the graphics were on the PS2 version or PSP version. Really great. So yeah, this one's coming to Switch too. Really excited about this one. It's another one that's sort of caught up in a bit of AI controversy because it looks like it uses AI in some ways. Pretty cool. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, Switch 2, pretty cool. Another probably highlight of the show for this one. And I just got to make sure I pronounce it right. Vivarium. I guess it's because like they're in a terrarium. Like it's an absolutely beautiful game. If you've watched the showcase, you'll know when I say the art style. The art style, it looks like 80s anime. It looks beautiful. And it looks like it's just like you're just in this real cozy world where you're just going around talking to the characters, experiencing the life of this little girl as she sort of talks with all these different wacky characters. And at the end of the trailer, it sort of zooms out and you're just like the whole of all of her world is like in this little terrarium, basically. So yeah, it looks absolutely fantastic. The art style straight away, I was like, yes. Like I want that. I don't know what the actual gameplay is apart from, is it just like a visual novel? You're talking, you're reading, or you're actually doing something, you're doing tasks? I don't know. No idea. But the art style, dude, like just as far as art styles and artwork goes, highlight of the last couple of days. Absolutely fantastic. It comes out next year. No release date necessarily, but it is coming to Game Pass. So for me, your beauty, that beautiful game on my like Legion Go 2 with that wonderful OLED screen, sign me up. Spyro, a realm beyond. I don't know why I couldn't get that out. But yeah, Spyro, Toys for Bob, they're back again. We got Crash 4 all those years ago, and even though they're independent now, but still teamed up with Xbox, they're doing a brand new Spyro game. So very excited for this. Spyro for me is nostalgic in the way that there was a family friend of ours, and their kids at the time, they were much older than me. So I remember basically it was late at night, parents are talking, having some beers, having some coffees. I don't know what they were doing, but it's getting to that time where I'm like, I'm getting bored. So they said, you can go to Clint's room and play some PlayStation. And he had a PS2, silver PS2 Slim, and he had like a burnt copy of, I assume Spyro 1. I can't remember what Spyro game it was, but yeah, I remember it was like a burnt copy because I could run around the opening level, but when I went through like a portal, the game froze and had to restart the PlayStation. So I just kept on playing that one sequence again and again and again that night. So I have quite fond memories of that for some reason. Couldn't really play the game all that much, but I really enjoyed just the character and the atmosphere that Spyro puts off. And a lot of I never had a PS1 as a kid, so there was only family friends of mine that had a PS1, and that's how I played like Driver and Tekken and some like really kind of Soul Calibur. Like he had that. These people had all sorts of things because like they could just burn any game they wanted. But yeah, some just strange like PS1 games that I have memories of, and that PS2, like that guy's PS2 that I'm talking about, that's why I have such a fondness of that silver PS2. And like a couple of years ago, I had to seek one down because like that is what the PS2 looks like to me, just that beautiful silver. I wish I could put silver plates on my PS5 Pro. I really do. But yeah, I'm a sucker for that silver when it comes to PlayStation. But a bit of a detour there. Spyro, can't wait. It's coming to Switch 2 next year. You beauty. And it looks great. So hopefully, yeah, once again, it looks great on Switch 2. Be a great place to play it, obviously, being that family-friendly type of game. So can't wait. And last but not least, don't have to talk about this too much, but we knew about this before. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4. We saw some gameplay. I blurred over when this came on. I'm like, yeah, I couldn't care less. But the reason I do care, because it's coming to Switch 2 this year. So I'm probably curious to pick up a game key card, just because usually physical copies of Call of Duty are pretty cheap, but Switch 2 being in that factor, I'm not quite sure if it'll be quite as cheap as the other versions. But yeah, I'm definitely going to pick it up this year on Switch 2. I'm very just keen to see just how it works, what it looks like, what it's like to play Call of Duty on a Nintendo platform again. It's been so long. And then that portability as well, maybe fitting in some like tether it to your phone, doing some multiplayer sessions here and there as we go along. But yeah, I'll be playing that later this year, probably. But yeah, that's all the games from Summer Games Fest that I'm really looking forward to, or I'm just interested in. 23 games all up that I wrote down here, and there's plenty more that are coming to Switch 2 as well that I either left out or I'm just not that interested in. But I'd love to hear the games that you guys are interested in when it comes to Summer's Game Fest, whether it's on other platforms or Switch 2. Love to hear from you guys what you think about it. But I also want to talk about just Xbox. Xbox sort of made a big move over the showcase. And as a segue, I'll use Zach's question in Discord. You too can leave questions for me on the Letterbox channel over on Discord at the iDruby Homestead. I usually ask not long before I start recording. Any questions this week? And everybody in here is always fantastic. Everyone from Luke to Zach, Compi, and Mike, absolutely fantastic. And of course, Dolphin Pants. We've got a question from you too, which I'll get to. But Zach, he just says, how do you feel about Microsoft's shift back to console exclusives? And it's a tricky one. I just want to sort of set the stage. I don't usually, get the time to sit down and talk about how I feel about Xbox, mainly because I find the company exhausting and I don't want to talk about them, and also because we run a Nintendo podcast. Thank God. Thank God I don't have to talk about them. But since we're focusing on Summer Game Fest and the industry at large, other publishers, and also just the fact that there are a lot of Xbox games we were hoping to get on Switch 2. When I was talking about Forza Horizon 6, Josh asked, will we get this on Switch 2? And honestly, that game was something that I wasn't all that interested in on Switch 2, just because of how the controls work, the triggers and the acceleration and stuff like that. But it could have been a game that would have ran for sure. And other stuff like Halo, I think that would have been great to have over. And I mean, there's plenty of games over that we haven't gotten already. But just in 2020, starting off the generation, I'm an enthusiast. I like to get all the consoles. There's exclusives on each that I like to get. I'm a big PlayStation fan, but also I really did see the value in what Xbox were doing, moving from Xbox One, the tail end of that with the introduction of Game Pass, the exclusives, things are sort of moving, and even stuff that Phil Spencer sort of said, he said some things I'm like, yeah, why would we have to pay for upgrades, for example, for like a Series 1 game, an Xbox One game to a Series X game, for example. We bought the hardware. I would expect that my hardware just runs my game better. And that's something that we're definitely coming to a reality with on Switch 1 to Switch 2 right now, where we are getting Switch 2 editions and upgrades and all this type of thing, where it's just very simple stuff, but we're paying $8 here, $8 there, $30 there. That stuff adds up. And I don't feel that respected as a customer in that respect when it comes to Nintendo. But yeah, there's a lot of sort of things Xbox were doing right with the Xbox Series S and X. And I was a big believer in it at the time. Back when they came out, I bought a Series S, I bought a Series X. because like at the time I had my games room, so I had one console in there, and I don't know, one in the lounge room, whatever it was. So yeah, I was buying and playing a lot of Game Pass and buying games on the series consoles. I bought like a lot of games around launch on there. So yeah, I was playing a lot of stuff on there, but it quite quickly fell apart even before all of this mess happened. And even in 2023 or 4, I forgot when it happened, but I was playing like The Crew and the Prince of Persia game that came out most recently. I was playing that on Ubisoft Plus, so that's Ubisoft subscription. I was playing that on Xbox because that's where it's available, and also Game Pass. So I was playing like a lot of stuff just through the subscriptions on there. So I was thinking like I'd like to keep playing here, add to my achievements, add to my library here, and that's when like the exclusive bubble popped. When it's like, oh, 4 games, want to try these on other platforms. I think it was 2 on Switch at the time, and then all 4 on PlayStation 5. And I'm like, oh man, Xbox are hurting badly because yeah, at this point it's like, oh, that's the first kink in the armor, and very quickly, other games started coming, and I feel like the biggest kick in the nuts for me was just like, oh, everything's an Xbox. Your computer's an Xbox, your PC's an Xbox, your phone's an Xbox. Hell, I don't know, your PlayStation's an Xbox. And I thought that was the stupidest idea. And not because it doesn't sound convenient. When I talk about the Switch 2 being convenient, being able to take it anywhere with me and all of that, I'm like, oh, that sounds great, because not only can you have your save file with you, you can, stream it on your phone, but also you can come back home and play it on your Series X and play it on a nice beefy piece of hardware as well, like kind of best of both worlds. I kind of like that idea, but the idea of a PC being an Xbox is like, does it have backwards compatibility with Xbox One and Xbox 360 games like my Series X does? No. Does it play all of the games I've bought on the Xbox store? No, it doesn't. It wasn't an Xbox. It's like, if there's like play anywhere, you can play it there. So it quickly become just like, all right, I feel like I'm being disrespected as a customer, and all of the once the exclusive went, it's like I feel like it's not necessarily the most important thing for Xbox having the exclusives, because I feel like they had a great box. The most underrated feature out of all of the consoles is quick resume on Xbox Series X and S. Just like you can pause a game, go to the menu, open up another game, play that, then go back to your other game, and it just snaps straight back to where you were. It's crazy. And you can turn off the console, unplug it, take it to a friend's house, plug it back in, go back to your game, it's straight back up. No loading, no waiting, no going through splash screens. That is truly a revolutionary feature. And like, if they could do something like that on a portable, where like you're just going between games and it's not like taking up hardware assets or anything like that, and like bottlenecking performance, that would be amazing. But yeah, we're not there yet. So like an Xbox handheld that did that, that'd be awesome. So it's been really frustrating just seeing them after they acquired Activision. Activision is what completely undid them, because the business that they took on with Activision was so big that it's completely uprooted the business of Xbox, which is making a piece of hardware, developing exclusives for it to sell that box. So people with that box buy stuff on their store, and then they make 30% on every transaction made through the Xbox store, on top of Game Pass, on top of other subscriptions, Xbox Live, or the equivalent of it, the Play Online, all of that stuff. All of that's been uprooted, where it's like, it doesn't make sense to have exclusives because you have the biggest game in the industry, apart from GTA or stuff like that. But as far as like an annual game goes, Call of Duty is like the biggest game that releases every year. So it made sense that they were moving to just a third-party publisher. Like the idea of, all right, we're going to be opening Halo up to a brand new audience. Like, especially after the last few games where they haven't been that satisfactory, the idea of rebooting it with a brand new Halo game, well, not a brand new Halo game, but a brand new remake of the original game, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Open it up to PlayStation and hopefully maybe one day us with Nintendo devices, but just all of their games. Like, does it make sense when like all of your games are multi-platform? Does it make sense to hold back Senua? No, it doesn't. So put it on PlayStation, put it wherever it can be. Does it make sense to hold back Halo when it's got a lot of potential, a lot of brand recognition, when Call of Duty's out there killing it? Why can't another massive first-person shooter also be a massive hit? Put it everywhere, absolutely, especially with how things are now. Fable is going to be massive. It appeals to the PlayStation audience heaps, just like an open world RPG. Absolutely, sell it to them. So it's been like a back and forth for the last few years when they really can't make up what their mind is. Is this game going to be everywhere or not? With like Indiana Jones or, whatever game was coming out at the time. So I feel like we finally got to a point where I was like, oh, look, the floodgates are truly open. There's no shutting it back. It is what it is. You can expect these games to be everywhere, and it makes sense. It made sense to be like Gears of War. Let's get a brand new audience. Let's make it bigger than ever. Halo, let's make it bigger than ever. Forza Horizon 5 on PlayStation sold 5 million copies just on PlayStation, years after it came out on PC and Xbox. So like, there's a hunger for their games, but people just don't want an Xbox. And a lot of that is just because PlayStation won the generation. They were able to just, with the PS4, they absolutely squashed Xbox One. And then like everybody with their digital libraries and all of the stuff that comes along with modern gaming, it's harder to get them back, especially when they haven't really done anything to get them back. They didn't have the big must-play exclusives. They didn't have, just like even the technical advantage, like, is a lot of things that Series X ports sometimes don't do as well. Not many, but there's examples. But even for me, like having the two consoles next to each other, like on the menu for like the Series X, it doesn't have HDR, but like the main menu for PS5 does. So the PS5, it looks a lot better, just like side by side, just before you boot up games. So just like small stuff like that. But just the idea that like the floodgates have completely been opened. We can expect these games to be played elsewhere. And now, it seems like last minute, especially for Gears of War E-Day, that they've decided to close them again. From like Jeff Grubb and some other people in the industry, it seems like this decision was just made to keep this game as an Xbox console exclusive, even to the point where some pre-orders went up for the PlayStation 5 version of Gears of War E-Day, which is crazy. So, yeah, it's a baffling decision. And Clockwork Revolution, that's a game coming out next year as well, which looks interesting. I didn't put it on my list because I'm not really that interested in it, but who knows, might give it a go when push comes to shove. But that was also going to be a console exclusive. So we've got 2 console exclusives coming to Xbox Series S and X. They'll also be available on PC and Steam. So you'll be able to get them on Steam as well. So they're not necessarily an exclusive. You can completely avoid, the Microsoft transaction and just do it through Gabe Newell. But it's a baffling decision for me because what is the goal with doing this? We've seen a brand new, president of Xbox, Asha Sharma, come in. She recently celebrated 100 days on the job. She had a interview with wasn't Forbes. What was it? Bloomberg, where she sat down and talked about, some strategies in that going forward. And a lot of the sort of moves she's been doing is like stuff that seems to be pushed forward by the loudest voices on Twitter, which is an interesting way of doing things. Because, like, yes, it's not a bad idea, I dare say, to be able to talk to the biggest fans of your platform, but also there's a lot of psychos on Twitter. especially like when it comes to like hardcore Xbox creators on Twitter. I'm not saying that they're all just like loopy, but man, the stuff some of them say, like, okay, that sounds illogical to me. But regardless, I just don't know what the deal is. I think she wants to make the existing Xbox user base happy, but you're not going to be able to sell any more Xbox hardware through doing this. And a lot of that just comes through like, is Gears of War the IP that's going to be able to do that? Probably not. Like, honestly, it's probably not the IP that's going to be able to do that. And also just where we are at the moment, the Xbox Series S and X, it's gone up in price 2 times. I don't even know what price it is at the moment. You might be able to get it on sale. A friend of mine actually got one on sale for $700 the other day, and he's having a great time with it. Obviously, if you don't pay attention to industry news and all of this stuff, you're probably just getting a box with a lot of games to play and a pretty cool subscription service. But for the most part, man, like the prices of these things, like you're going to, like, I don't know if it's going to sell millions of Xboxes to make a dent. And especially at this point in the generation where they're basically getting ready to give out dev kits to their Xbox Helix, which is the next generation of PC or Xbox Hybrid or whatever they're doing for the next generation. So these consoles are also old. So how much more are you looking to push it? So the idea of taking such a big chunk out of the potential of Gears of War is, in some ways, it's serious. Being like, hey, look, we're here. Here's an exclusive. And honestly, out of all of these games they've shown today, it's the one that matters. It's a really important Xbox IP to Xbox fans. So there is that. There's that side of things. Like, is this the first step to actually getting a competitive Xbox back? Because I really miss them being like a competitive brand. Maybe they weren't that competitive compared to PlayStation and Nintendo, just in the fact that, like, you look at the amount of people that, you know, just the console sales together. It's like, how much were they actually pushing PlayStation? But at least they were there doing something. Because I seriously view my Series X just as a retro console that plays Xbox 360 games really well. And some physical games that I got for real cheap recently, which I'm like, oh, great. Nobody wants physical Xbox games anymore. So I was able to pick them up real cheap. But apart from that, man, it's like I would never spend my money there. And what would it take to win someone like me back? Someone who has like a lot of love for the Xbox brand, a lot of love for the hardware, a lot of love for the Game Pass service, the Play Anywhere service where you can buy a game and play it on PC and Xbox console. That's kind of exactly what I want from my hardware. I want to buy a game and be able to play it on a Legion Go and also just play it on a more performant Series X or Xbox console. It's kind of exactly what I want. But they've got to do a lot to win me back. And it's got to take a lot more than like, hey, here's 2 games. Because the weird thing is, like, all right, so Gears of War is exclusive. Okay. Clockwork Revolution, which looks very promising. That's an exclusive. But there are other games announced today, like, why is Halo staying multi-platform? I know it's very close to launch. It's like just over a month away. And also I would say it's a lot bigger deal seeing Halo. That is Xbox. So like, is it too late to pull that? Like, that is a game I would want to pull. Maybe it's just a remake of the first Halo game, so it's not that big a deal. So will we see the next Halo game not come to PlayStation and Switch and other platforms? But then we got like new announcements today. We got like Senua, Spyro, other stuff from Xbox Game Studios. Not really Spyro, but sort of it is their IP. They can ultimately do what they want with it. But like Senua, like, why not make that exclusive? Now, I know it's the same sort of thing I'll have to say about Gears of War and Clockwork, but I wouldn't want to hurt Senua. It's only going to sell what it's going to sell anyway. But I'd probably say that for Gears and that as well. Like, it's not going to move the needle. And it just feels like she tried to make Xbox fans on Twitter and YouTube happy. Like, I really do feel like what I see Xbox becoming until this morning was just a third-party publisher that offered a console to be able to play Xbox games on, play your account on, do your achievements, all of that, if you wanted that option. It probably wasn't going to be a really big mainstream option, but if you're an Xbox gamer and that's how you want to play games, there's the option for you. And it keeps you on Windows, it keeps you in their ecosystem, and there's still like maybe a few million people, 10 million people type of thing, to jump into their ecosystem and not go to Steam or PlayStation or wherever. But yeah, kind of baffling. It's like, what are they trying to do? And now we're back to a point where a game gets announced from Xbox Game Studios, Activision, or Bethesda, and we've got to ask the question, is it coming or not? And for the most part, I've got such a distrust for Xbox as far as their own system goes. Like, as far as like buying a game from their store, I bought Forza Horizon 6 for a lot of money on Steam. Happy to do that. Like Halo and Call of Duty, happy to buy these games from them, but I do not trust to buy it on their platform. There's no way that I can trust them that they'll be there in another 2 years. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they're just going to bow out and say everything's an Xbox. I don't know if they're going to just nail down on the one box and maybe leave PC out, or, you know, whatever they're going to do. I don't trust them. So it's going to take a lot more Gears of Wars. It probably, for me, I know it's not this simple and one option probably would literally kill them, but they're either all in with everything, much like their biggest games are with Call of Duty and Forza and all of this, or it's all exclusive, and even to the point where it's not even on Steam. And I would hate that, because that's where I want to buy. That's where I want to buy my games that aren't, you know, games that I want to play on Switch. But that's what it would take. It would take, all right, Gears, Fable, Halo, Senua, Call of Duty, Elder Scrolls, Fallout. It will take all of that together to make an exclusive argument why you should buy an Xbox, and more importantly, buy games on their digital service that once you buy them, they are locked there. You can't sell them. You can't move them. They have to be played where they allow you to play them. So that's what it would honestly take for me to be like, okay, they're back to exclusives. Obviously, they can't make Call of Duty exclusive because they signed like a contract for the competitive. I forgot the name of the thing they signed, but anti-consumer. I don't know, whatever. So yeah, I know they can't do that, but honestly, I feel like that's what it would take. Maybe everything but Call of Duty, just because of logistics. But yeah, they're not doing that. They're just doing a couple of games. It's like on Switch, on Nintendo, like the proposition is just so obvious and in your face. Nintendo makes games that are only on Switch 2. They're only there. Like series that you love Zelda, you love Mario, you love Smash Brothers, you love Mario Kart, you love Pikmin, all of these games. So you know, there's no question, oh, are they coming to PlayStation? Do I have to get one? Maybe I can just play it on my PC. Maybe I can just play it on the PC I got. Like, there's no ifs or buts. They are 100% on there. And even people that don't play in handheld, they don't really appreciate having a weaker piece of hardware, it doesn't matter. They still buy it because they want to play the next Zelda game. They want to play the next Mario game. It's obvious. Whereas why are you buying an Xbox? Like, can I play it on the thing I already got? Can I buy it on the thing I prefer? It makes no sense. And I thought we were going to be at a point where it started to make a little bit more sense. But alas, we're not. And it's kind of frustrating. But that is just what it's like to follow Xbox in 2026. And the only way I can describe it is if you are somebody that is on the platform, you're probably enjoying it, but it's exhausting to follow. It really is. Like, they've got no clear direction. They've bought so many studios. They're going in all different ways. They can't figure out just a direction to move the platform forward. And even to the point where they don't even know if they want to have a platform. And the last few months, they decided, oh, we want to have a platform again. Even to the point where Oshishama, she described that like, oh, we want to get back into having a platform. Like in their mind, they didn't even have Xbox anymore. So I don't know. It's a head scratcher. It really is. But yeah, I know Sam Hay, I know Luke, I know you guys are Xbox gamers outside of your Switch. And the thing is, I'm sure you're having a great time on it. Obviously, like James Bond and all these third-party games are coming to it. It's not like you got nothing to do on it, for sure. But yeah, like myself, just like having all three consoles, it's sad to see what's happened to it. And who knows? This might be the start of making an Xbox console make sense. But in 2026, with the price of everything, it just doesn't make any sense. It seemed like a really smart idea to get out of hardware for anyone at this point. Like Nintendo having to rely on getting Switch 2s out there and subsidize price rises and economic realities and obviously the oil crisis and all of this stuff they've got to sort of overcome to get the Switch 2 into a store for you to come and buy it, to buy a game and some accessories with it. That's a lot. That's a lot to ask from somebody when, you know, Xbox can just sell a game to wherever anyone is, whether you're on PlayStation already or you are an existing Xbox consumer. Yeah. So it's a pain. It's a pain. Right. Another question. This should be a quicker one because I have a little bit less to say about this one. But Dolphin Pants, he says, do you have a movie of the year yet? I just saw Obsession, and it's easily my number one. And I got no idea what Obsession is. Honestly, for me, I don't really follow movies all that much. I'll probably say my favorite movie so far this year is Project Hail Mary. Chantel and I, we went and watched that, and I really enjoyed it. Can't really say too much about it because the whole thing's just like a mystery, and if I spoil it, it's very much spoiled. But the whole time I was just like really paying attention to it and enjoying sort of the mystery unravel, and yeah, really great. I'm sure a lot of people watched that this year as well. Another one I guess makes sense for this podcast is just Super Mario Galaxy movie. I really enjoyed it. In my when we talked about it on the podcast, coming out of it, I was like, I don't think I like it as much as the first one. I had my reasons, and when it got released on digital, I bought it on Apple TV, and since I think we've watched it like literally 10 times since I bought it. Like the kids have put it on repeat for a couple of days. Like we've had a few rainy days, so we put popcorn in the microwave, put the Mario movie on. It finishes, go and play some stuff, play some toys, come back. It's like, Dad, can we watch the Super Mario Galaxy movie again? So I've watched it a lot. Probably watched it more than like a lot of you guys, especially without kids. And you might have just watched it the once since it came out or whatever. But yeah, it's really grown on me, that movie. I think like me sitting in the cinema, taking it all in, I think like my initial thoughts probably reign true still, but having it just on, mostly for me in the background, just as the kids are watching it and I'm doing something else. It's I love just seeing it. It's such a pretty movie, and just like re-experiencing all of the scenes again. So I think that's my Nintendo fan just coming out. Like I'm not so much of a movie guy. I am looking forward to Toy Story 5. I'll probably take the kids to that. And Spider-Man, is that July? New Spider-Man movie? Can't remember what that's called. I'm always up for that. Yeah. But I would say, yeah, probably Mario. I'll say Mario. That's the one that I'm always rewatching and thinking about and all that. So, yeah, I don't know. When I watch movies too, I'm not like, what's my favorite movie? I kind of just watch it and go, yeah. Yeah, that was good. And if I say a movie's bad, it's abysmal. Just absolutely awful. What was that Spider-Man movie? Yeah, Madam Web. I watched that on Netflix, and this is horrendous. This sucks. I was getting bored watching it. I'm like, if I think that, what's a what's a film buff who's sitting down watching this thinking, Jesus Christ. So yeah, no. I would say Mario, my favorite one. All right. Any more questions in here? Compire he says, I just wanted to shout out Mina the Hollower. It kicks ass. And hell yeah, man. I saw on my friends list when I have a bit of a snoop every now and again. What are people playing? And I saw Compire playing a bit of Mina the Hollower. And yeah, 100%, dude. I think it's just like time of release. You know, I'm very much focused on Final Fantasy at the moment, so I'm not going to buy it when I can't play it. But yeah, very, very excited for Yacht Club games. Hopefully they get the hit that they need. And the game looks fantastic. Like, I'm all about just this top-down adventure game, very much harkening back to Game Boy Color, like Legend of Zelda games. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it eventually. It might put me off a little bit, just like how long the game is. Like, I think it's like estimated like 28 hours. I don't know if I need that for 28 hours. That's like the length of Skyward Sword. So I'm like, oh man, it's pretty long, but I mean, get your bang for your buck for sure. It's $28 here in Australia, so that's pretty good. I don't think this is a question. I think Mike's just having a chat, but he says so this is just a repeat to buying games and not playing them straight away. But what does Mike say? He says, my usual pattern is buy a game, don't play it for a long time, see it in a YouTube video or something, suddenly feel motivated, play a game. 100%. I don't know if I get motivated again. I feel like I do it on purpose sometimes to try and motivate myself if I haven't played it. But yeah, I buy a lot of games where I'm like, yep, I'll play this eventually. I love the look of it. It looks like a lot of fun. And I guess Final Fantasy VII Remake is a perfect example of that. Whereas it might not have been a YouTube video or something, but it was a re-release of the game on a portable platform that I cover a lot more in depth than PlayStation instead of a YouTube video. So yeah, absolutely. We can all relate to that. And they're just talking. So yeah, that brings us to the end of this very lengthy solo episode. So I do want to say, if you get to this point of a long solo episode, super appreciate you. You are a friggin' legend. I love you very much. I had a lot of fun talking about, first year of Switch 1, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and the state of play, Summer Games Fest, Xbox Showcase, and a big ramble about what the hell are Xbox doing. Like, just pick a lane. This in-between crap. Don't like it, but really appreciate it. And if you'd like to sort of have word on anything I talked about this episode, leave it in the Discord. You can join us by clicking the link in the show notes. Be a nice little invite to the iDruby homestead. And like I said earlier, you can leave a letter in the letterbox for me to read on future episodes. But if you did get to this point, let me know by leaving the hashtag on the YouTube comment section or in the Discord. What should the hashtag be? We'll make hashtag just, don't know, hashtag so many games. Easy. We talked about so many games on this episode. So if you would like to let me know you got to this point, I'd really appreciate it. And if I see you do that, I'll fucking love it, mate. I'll love it so much. And if you were in my vicinity physically, I'll give you a high five. And if you get a bit closer than that, peck on the cheek. What do you reckon about that? But enough of that. Till next week or later this week with Josh for a Nintendo Direct post-show, because, fingers crossed, the doors to House of Mario, they closed. I'll catch you later.